Hi there everyone, it's me Gemma at Story and Song, and today I wanted to recommend to you some spooky October reads. I have been myself reading a lot of horror, witchy books, all that kind of stuff, and I wanted to recommend some of the most recent good ones I have read. So I don't think this one will come as a shock to anyone. I would like to recommend, first of all, Sawkill Girls by Claire Legrand, which I absolutely loved earlier on this year and gave 5 stars. Now, it is about 3 girls on an island called Sawkill, and they are battling a monster with, the help of teamwork and female empowerment, all that kind of stuff. I absolutely love it. I think it would be really good to read in October because it's very atmospheric. It has that almost New England noir thing that I really like about books. For some reason, I find the whole New England, Maine setting to be really spooky. So, first of one, I would just recommend reading it at any time of year, but I think October would be an excellent time to give. Then I'm going to recommend one that I haven't seen really recommended around BookTube at all, and that is Beyond Black by Hilary Mantel. Now this is a contemporary sort of ghost story. It's one of my favourite books of all time, and it's about a psychic called Alison who had a really terrible childhood. She is a psychic and she has a really awful spirit guide, and basically she tours, I'll just read part of the blurb here, she tours the dormitory towns of London's Orbital Road with her flint-hearted sidekick Colette, passing on messages from dead ancestors. But behind her plump, smiling persona is a desperate woman. The next life holds terrors that she must conceal from her clients, and her own waking hours are plagued by spirits of men from her past. They infiltrate her house, her body and her soul, and the more she tries to get rid of them, the stronger and nastier they become. Now, I have had this copy for quite a while. It is very beaten up. I also have a copy that I got signed by the author. Most people maybe know Hilary Mantel now more so for Bringing Up the Bodies and for Wolf Hall, which were made into, I believe, dramas quite recently by the BBC. I really did like Wolf Hall as well, but this is my favourite of her novels. It is so atmospheric, it's very spooky, I really identified a lot with Alison in terms of her weight and her using her weight to almost hide from people. And I remember reading it and being like, wow, that is amazing, and I just wish more people would read it and talk about it. Then we are going to go for a classic, and that is Dracula. Is there any better time of the year to read the sort of seminal vampire novel? I don't think there is. This is a beautiful Penguin cloth-bound classic edition, which was a little bit more expensive, but it is obviously in common domain, and you can get it, I believe, on Kindle for pretty much no money at all. It's an old novel, but it's also a very modern novel. It was one of the first novels to be told in sort of epistolary format, using journals, using gramophone, wax cylinders, newspaper articles. It is amazing, and I have been reading it since I was in high school. I think I first read Dracula, and I just love it still. Dracula is also, I believe, the most adapted character of all time. If you like vampire books, if you like any of that sort of oeuvre, then I recommend starting with the original and best. And also, now this is a very recent read for me, and that is It by Stephen King. What a chunky monkey this book is, and having read it, I agree with the film's decision to split the books into 2 time periods two films, because this book goes back and forth between the two time periods throughout the book, and the most recent film also sets the children's period in the 80s, whereas this one is set in 1958, and I absolutely loved it. There is a warning on this for the scene at the end between Beverly and the rest of the losers. I will let you Google it, but I skipped that part, to be honest, myself. As soon as it started, I was like, no, yeah, I'm gonna skip this. And I don't think I lost anything by skipping it. It wasn't as scary as I thought it would be, but very atmospheric, and I'm looking forward to seeing It Part 2 now. I saw It Part 1. My favourite character remains Richie Tozier. I love him, and I just really enjoyed it. I like Stephen King anyway, but I think this is a total classic of the horror genre for a reason, and October is a very good time to read it. Now, this is the most recent of my spooky reads, and it is The Bone Witch by Rin Gepeko. It's the first in a series of 3. I believe the other 2 books are already out. I do own the second one, haven't read it yet. I read this maybe last week and devoured it in a sitting. Now, this is about a girl called T. I think you say T, not Tia. And she is a witch, but she discovers that she is in fact a bone witch or a dark witch, and there are not very many of them at all, and they can raise people from the dead. It is, if you like the Poppy War, I think you would like this, especially the parts of the Poppy War that took place in the academy and the school setting. I know that Penny from Lethal M was saying that she liked the Poppy War but liked the academy parts more, and I think if you liked those parts more, you will like the Bone Witch. I certainly liked the Bone Witch better than I liked the Poppy War. In fact, I gave this 5 stars, and you know, it starts off, the blurb on the back: the beast raged, it punctured the air with its spite, but the girl was fiercer. It's just really good. I like it. I can't wait to read the second one. Spooky, witchy read for October. And then I have to recommend An Unkindness of Magicians. Now, it doesn't actually say, I don't think, what time of year this takes place, but to me it felt very autumnal, autumn in New York sort of feel. It's set in New York, and it's about the sort of magical underworld where it's ruled by these families in New York, and every 25 years, I think every 20 years, sorry, they have a competition where they elect a champion for each house, and the champions battle out to see who's going to be the most powerful family and rule the roost for the next 20 years. Now, all of this is upset by the appearance of a witch called Sydney. No one knows where she's come from, no one knows where she has been for the last, 20 years. She is stronger than most of her counterparts, and she is intent on shaking the whole thing up. Now, I really liked that this went into a really interesting magic system, and also how people get their powers and where they get their power from was really interesting, I thought. And I really liked Sydney as the main character. I believe Kat Howard said that she is writing a sequel. Whether it has Sydney in it remains to be seen, but I will be reading the next one, and I think this would be a really good one if you like magic, if you like, say, like something like The Magicians. I would totally recommend this one. And last of all, no, not last of all, I have one more after this. I would like to recommend The Night Watch by Sergei Lukienko. And this one was made into a film, a Russian film, I think sometime in the early mid-2000s, and it is really good. It's very complicated. It is high urban fantasy, and basically there is the night watch and the day watch, and they are constantly keeping each other in check. So all that stands between the darkness and the light is the night watch, and the main character, whose name is Anton, he is basically fighting the day watch, who are their opposite numbers. I don't want to spoil too much, but it is a really great urban fantasy with a very different magic system. And if you like this sort of recent wave of Russian inspired fantasy and folklore, I think you would really enjoy this. There are 2 books after this, one which is called The Day Watch, and I think the other one is Twilight Watch. Very good. I also recommend the film as well if you like, you know, that kind of film. Not very scary, I don't believe, but I really thoroughly enjoyed it and was very impressed with it when I saw it for the first time. Now, my copy of this last one is upstairs, but that is Every Dead Thing by John Connolly. Now, Every Dead Thing is about a detective called Charlie Parker whose wife is murdered, as well as his daughter, and he goes on a quest to avenge them. But what makes John Connolly's writing very different is that he is very atmospheric, he has a great way of describing things, he goes into a lot of detail. You know, for example, one of the later books has a theme about racism in the South and about sort of, he goes into a lot of detail about different topics, different details. I would highly recommend any of his and all of his books. He has got also 2 collections of short stories which are also very spooky, and I'll also say that book number 3 has the only villain in any thriller or detective novel that has ever genuinely scared me, and I can't wait for this to one day be made into a series of films. It also has 2 of my favourite characters ever committed to paper, Angel and Louis, who are a gay couple, one of whom is a retired thief and the other is a semi-retired assassin. They are Charlie's best friends and they help him out always with his issues and different things that are going on. Really enjoyable, really well researched books. Thoroughly recommend them if you want a bit of a scare but you're leaning towards the sort of more horror thriller end of the scale rather than just horror, straight horror. So that is all the books I would like to recommend to you from October. It's goodbye from me, goodbye from the Sulky Dog, and I will see you next time. Take care. Bye bye.